So one of the things we need to talk about before we wrap up, and that is Shedeur Sanders. We need to talk about him. And you say, well, why are we talking about the Browns? No, it's not about the Browns. It's about Shedeur Sanders. So Shedeur Sanders did something that for the Browns that has not been done since 1995, and that is a quarterback in his debut winning. That hasn't happened since Eric Zaire. It's been a long time. But Shedeur Sanders and the Browns won the ball game. Now, of course, Cuzzo, you and I like our Bears. We like our 325 game of the week. We like our red zone. So it's not like that we were keyed in on the Browns. We just kept getting notices on the Browns and how they're playing against Vegas. It's the toilet bowl between the two. They're both terrible. And so, it wasn't worth watching. But I know my Cleveland friends were interested to see what it would be like with Shedeur Sanders as a starter as Dylan Gabriel was out because of injury. And so Shedeur is out there. He finishes 11 for 20, good for a touchdown and interception. And so after the game, he's all smiles, and he's just like, man, I just did this after a week of practice. Imagine what else could happen. And people are like outraged by what Shedeur Sanders was saying. Like, oh, man, it's your first game. Act like you've been there before. The one thing that I would tell, especially younger people watching and listening to this podcast, Shedeur Sanders has a lot of confidence. But that's because it's not because he plays for the Browns. It's because he's Deion Sanders' son. And Deion Sanders, for those at a certain age, remember Deion at Florida State. Must be the money. Dude was doing videos and hitting everything that moves because he's Deion Sanders, right? He goes to the NFL. He goes to Major League Baseball. He plays baseball and football at the same time. He was on all the covers of Sports Illustrated. He was doing music videos. He had the bling. He had the confidence, and he was great. Shedeur Sanders grew up with Deion Sanders. The whole family has just unlimited confidence in themselves because it's Deion Sanders. I don't think there's anybody in that family that lacks confidence because Deion, even with a 3-8 record at Colorado, he still believes that he can turn it around, right? So just unflinching confidence. So when people get on Shedeur, I'm just confused by it because his dad's Deion. So, of course, he's going to feel like that he's confident. He can raise the bar for the Browns.
I don't understand, especially in this modern society, while we want athletes to conduct themselves like it's 1956. It's insane. If he wants to show emotion or display the confidence he has in his abilities, that's the great part of sports now. It's why we are huge wrestling fans as a country. So because they have a lot of bravado and confidence, we love that. But then when it comes to our athletes, we're like, no, let's go back to 1956, and you just have the character or the emotion of a white or beige room, like that isn't going to get it done. So like seeing Sanders come out, Shedeur Sanders come out there yesterday and play relatively well, especially considering that there were a lot of grown men hoping that the kid failed, like somehow his failing was going to bring them joy. It's insane. So just hats off to him coming out there playing well against some odds, because you have a lot of Stefanski didn't want to play him. He's been backing Gabriel. And I think for all of us, Gabriel is a midget, a lefty, but he's okay as a quarterback. But just looking at both of them, you can tell that Sanders has far more talent than Gabriel. So he should have been a backup to begin with, but it is what it is. Now
you can't use that term. You can't about Gabriel. You can't.
I apologize. He's a vertically challenged guy.
Okay.
He's a vertically challenged quarterback.
I think just for clarification, like you could use dwarf if in that spot. But speaking of 1956, it's called the man a midget. I mean, you don't use that term anymore. You can't do that, Cuzzo.
I'm not a professional, so
It's not a
excuse my.
profession. You just said no. I'm talking about just in life. It's not about being out there. You can't call small people that term anymore. Speaking of 56.
I apologize.
Oh my.
He's a. I apologize to all my vertically challenged people out there. Just it was a mistake. I'll be better, and I look forward to showing that I'll be better when talking about vertically challenged quarterbacks in the NFL. But back to Shedeur Sanders, I think that talent-wise, it's clearly he has far more talent than Gabriel has. Gabriel may have the experience, but I think coaching can help Shedeur Sanders come along when it comes to that. And Stefanski did a relatively good job on Sunday, and I think if he has another couple weeks to work with Shedeur, he can help put him in a position to continue to be successful. And they may have their quarterback of the future, which was drafted in the 5th round, 4 rounds later than virtually everyone predicted he would be drafted.
Well, I'll say this, and by the way, if you're going to say that about vertically challenged people, just be careful. You're walking down the street, and all of a sudden, just remember they're close to your jewels. They'll hit you in the balls, and you can't protect yourself because just understand they're right down there. They can knock you out.
Well, I've had I'm gonna share this with the audience. I've had my bucket list is to find me a vertically challenged young woman who who can stand on business. That's on the bucket list. To find one of those who can stand on business. It's on the list, Cosmo. It's on the list.
I don't think that's on the list, Cuzzo. I don't think that you're. Why do you want it? Is that why you're wearing the "Rent Me" shirt today? You want?
Well, this is for Ryan Poles, just in case he's looking for a linebacker on Sunday. I can go out there and be an undersized linebacker, and get my ass whooped for an hour or so.
But that shirt's not for vertically challenged women. You want them to rent you for an hour or?
No. My services are free for them. Just free. I just need one. Just one. They can stand on business.
Well, they'd have to stand on something, I'm sure. I don't know about business, but they have to stand on something for you, I'm sure.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Oh, my God. Go ahead, AI. Put that out there. Go ahead, moderate that. Make sure they put something out there that Wiley's fantasy is to be with a vertically challenged woman. Let's have that cut up for us. Yes.
Absolutely. It's on the list.
Okay. I think that it's something to be said about being too extreme. Whether it's our politics, whether it's our culture, there's a certain thing about being too extreme. I think that I can say that for any young quarterback, their future is not ruined because they get on the field and underachieve. Because you can always go to another coach. You can always go to another quarterback coach or another head coach or another system, and maybe you can flourish. Sometimes the light turns on late for some people. So I'm not going to say Shedeur Sanders is going to fail because he's a young quarterback. But I just find it interesting that there are some that will back Shedeur Sanders to the nth degree, thinking that he's going to be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. And I would say for any young quarterback, let them develop. Let them do it on their own. There is a feeling of Tebowism, I believe, when it comes to Shedeur Sanders from Skip Bayless, Josina Anderson, and some others. Like, he's going to be great. Leave him alone. Like, my point is, Wiley, is let the young man develop. He's already got the confidence. He doesn't need the press to give him more confidence. He doesn't need Cleveland sports radio stations to give him confidence. Like, he's good on the confidence. Now it's about the ability and the production. And I just think that it's not that, he was not that great at Colorado, so he's going to suck. And also it's, he's going to be the next big thing. What it is you support the young man or any young quarterback that you feel like, hey, at some point they're going to get it. I just think that the dichotomy also is strange is how people look at J.J. McCarthy, the national champion with Michigan, being with Minnesota and really struggling. And then some looking at Shedeur Sanders and thinking that, well, too much bravado, too much smiling, too much confidence, he's going to fail.